Biden has already said, the Biden administration said, well, we've got to reconsider the relationship with Saudi Arabia. I mean, how much more isolated can the United States get at this point? That's how it feels. It feels like there are no permanent friends, obviously, for the United
No.
States at this point.
No, absolutely. It's being a friend of the. I don't know if Henry Kissinger really said to be a friend of the United States. What was it? I can't remember. I don't know if it's apocryphal or not. But being a friend of the U.S. is a very dangerous thing. And look at the Europeans. They don't have. I mean, the price of gasoline has gone up. All they had to do was maintain their relationship with Russia. The thing that made the most sense for them was to continue getting natural gas from Russia, but the U.S. was hell bent on keeping Europe down as a vassal state, impoverishing the EU nations. You can't get gasoline in France. There are strikes. Italy and France protests saying people should advocating to leave NATO. The German leaders, one of them, the foreign minister, actually said, I don't care what the German voters think. I'm here for Ukraine. So this is what the United States has wrought around the world. And the U.S. wants everybody to act like a vassal. And the Saudis said no. And they were like, well, don't announce you're cutting oil production until after our elections. They don't care. The point of OPEC is why do you have a cartel? To make sure you make as much money as possible, right? And to expect every country in the world to shoot itself in the foot is just madness. So we have a very, very dangerous situation, and it's all because of the Biden administration.
Yeah, it feels like, I mean, all the polls are coming out now for the Democrats in the midterms. They don't look good. They don't look good at all. They are showing that the black vote is still very firm with the
Yeah.
Democrats. Surprise, surprise. But everywhere else, it looks pretty bad. And now you have the forecast for the economic situation in the United States getting darker and darker. Although I still think the banks are being very careful to not impact the midterm elections by saying, yeah, in 12 months, 12 months, it's bad. It's almost like they're saying, this is bad, be scared, but you have a year. I don't believe that for a second, but it feels like that there is, first of all, a recession that's going to hit Europe ASAP, if not already. I mean,
Oh,
if
yeah.
people are
Yeah.
paying this much for energy, then you know that it's right. I think Germany's industry is set to, because of not just these sanctions and the inflation, but now
Mhm.
Nord Stream, as you said, being taken out. With all of that, it feels like Germany's economy is going to shrink quite dramatically very soon. So that's going to alone create huge problems. And it seems like Biden is in trouble. I mean, Europe, the UK can't seem to keep a. I mean, it seems like Miss Truss is already done.
Oh,
She's
she
just
is. She's
holding
toast.
on. So this is kind of like somebody in the chat before we started here said something like a world gone crazy, like a world gone mad, like another episode of the world gone mad. Like that's kind of how it feels because of the instability of this. I guess you could say U.S.-led Western imperial order. It's very unstable right now.
Oh, sure it is. And it's all been created by the United States. Boris Johnson did himself in as prime minister. He was riding high, won election decisively, got Brexit done, as he said. Um, uh, Although there's lots of buyer's remorse about Brexit. But he was the one who scuttled the peace talks. Ukraine and Russia were talking. They were meeting, and they sent Boris Johnson over to tell Zelensky, we're not ready for this yet. So just forget about any talk of peace." And so they got rid of him. And they got Liz Truss. They got rid of the Chancellor of the Exchequer. The guy was in his job like 4 weeks or something. But there's a larger plot afoot to try to get rid of Brexit, to actually get the labor leader in power who's purged the party of the left. It's a longer story, but the U.S. has helped in destabilizing that government and many others. So, but as it fails, the U.S. What does the U.S. do? What does the Biden administration do? Their plan B is always something worse. So people in Germany said, well, turn on Nord Stream 2. Let's get that Russian natural gas. And their response in desperation is to blow it up or have somebody else blow it up. Um, so that is the thing that frightens me so much, that this I call it fantasy foreign policy, which the Biden team seems to be addicted to. Listen, you're not going to diminish China's economic prowess. That's not going to happen. You're not going to break up Russia. You can't use Ukraine to fight Russia. None of these things bear any resemblance to reality, but they don't want to accept it. And so every move they make is a disaster for the entire world. All they have going for them is propaganda, is war propaganda, which has been off the charts this year. And the Democrats are wedded to it. So, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was confronted at a town hall
Yeah.
by people who belong to the LaRouche party. They do. But her response to them was, well, they're repeating Putin's talking points. And the only one prominent person who has said the U.S. should be talking to Russia is Donald Trump, which is problematic because Trump said it. But it's absolutely true. A war can end with negotiations. Wars have ended with negotiations. They don't, it doesn't have to be one pile of dead bodies being bigger than another that decides when a war ends. But we're in a mess with this team of people who are amateurish, Blinken, the Secretary of State, after the Nord Stream explosion, what did he say? Well, this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity to, stop depending on Russian gas, and Putin has weaponized gas. No, it's the United States that's weaponized gas. They want to force Europe to buy fracked gas from the U.S., which is more expensive, which is worse for the environment. And that's what they want them to do. So, but Blinken is always saying something that's just absurd. And I say in general, a lot of Biden foreign policy is continuation of Trump's foreign policy. Everyone says Trump is a fascist. He's this, he's that. Well, Biden did what he did, except worse.